He stalked me across 2 different countries. So this is going to be pretty long. Several years ago, I was using a dating app. It was all fun and games. Sometimes I met some people for hookups, sometimes I didn't. And most of the time, I didn't even reply to those who only sent me certain types of pictures, unsolicited. One day, this guy shot me a message on there. Is 4 years younger than me, meaning he was 18 at the time and I was 22. I didn't really consider him my type, but at the same time, I also didn't think it would hurt to get to know him. I mean, looks are just looks, and has been plenty of times where I fell for a guy not for looks, but for personality. So maybe that could have been the case too. I just came out from a pretty toxic relationship that involved lots of cheating and trust issues and insecurities. So I was really looking for a new relationship. But it did feel good to get positive attention from guys. We started texting back and forth, nothing out of the ordinary. But I realized pretty soon that the part of his personality he let me experience considered of not more than I'm horny, let's fuck. And look, no slut shaming because I wasn't that opposed to it. As I said, I just had a nasty breakup and was looking for some fun. So I said yes. We exchanged numbers, agreed on a date, time and place, and then we went back to our normal lives for now. I had a lot going on at the time. It was only a few months until I moved to a different place, so I already started planning for all that. And not just that, but a friend of mine invited me to come with him on a trip to Amsterdam, which obviously had to be prepared as well, since that trip was scheduled 2 weeks before I was supposed to move. Therefore, it comes to no one's surprise that I kind of forgot about the guy until the day we were supposed to meet up. He texted me a few hours earlier if we were still clear. After I scolded myself for forgetting, I told him that we were meeting as planned, even though that would throw my schedule off a little. So I got ready for the date, and I kid you not even an hour before we were supposed to meet, he canceled. I mean, not too big of a deal, it happens that you can't always make it, so we scheduled another day, which he proceeded to cancel as well. Cancellation after cancellation after cancellation, week after week, 7 different dates. Each time it allegedly was a sick relative or pet. So clearly I took that as he didn't really want to meet me, which would be fine. I'm not everyone's type either, but he could have at least had the decency to not lead me on then. So I told him off about his shitty behavior and blocked him. Maybe that was a little of an overreaction, but I just didn't want to waste my time with a guy that seemingly always found excuses to meet me, when I could focus on either the moving process, the vacation process, or with another guy who was actually interested. But then he messages me on the dating app. How dare I block him? He wanted me to meet, but I was just an unappreciative bitch. Obviously, that I after that I blocked him on the app as well. I thought I had heard the last of him, so I went on with my days. Already started forgetting him after a few weeks. And then another account messaged me, fake pictures and all, but it didn't took long for me to figure out it was him. He basically admitted in the first place, so another block followed. Another account, another block. Day after day, I thought what was even going on? He didn't want me to meet me at first, and now he creates new accounts on the daily to contact me? What the hell? So I just had enough and wanted to tell him off again. Well, he started to apologize for his behavior, that he was in the wrong, and that he was willing to meet me if I was willing to still meet him. Trust me, I really wanted to blow him off, but in my mind, if I just met him and be just really bad at sex or something, he'd just never contact me again. Stupid, but hey, it was worth a try. So we scheduled a meeting a few days before I was supposed to leave for the trip to Amsterdam, which I stupidly told him about. And since I didn't have a car, he offered to come to my place. Now I wouldn't never give a stranger from the internet my address, but back then I did. I mean, he couldn't possibly be a creep, right? So we met. He came into my house. We sat down on my bed, exchanged basic pleasantries, and then he stopped talking altogether. He didn't even look at me. Just to be safe, I was a catfish. I looked exactly like I did in the pictures I had on the app. Just to be safe, I wasn't a catfish. Whoops. Only then I asked him something he would reply with very few words. Until I asked him directly if he'd hook up or not, he suddenly started kissing me, and well, I don't have to go into detail. So when he finished, he just sat next to me, staring at the wall, not saying a word. At that point, I was pretty annoyed. I mean, I get being shy and all, but if it's that intense, how did you muster up the courage to go on a hookup? Anyway, after I went to the bathroom to freshen up, I told him my roommates would be back soon, so he jumped up, said goodbye, and left. I got no other messages from him after. Flash forward to my trip to Amsterdam. My friend, let's call him Joe. I had a lot. I had lots of fun roaming through the streets of Amsterdam day and night, relax in our pretty fancy hotel, and do the usual shit tourists do. One day we were just walking down a very busy road very close to the main train station, when suddenly I heard a car honk loudly next to us. The traffic light was on red, so the person wasn't driving. I thought nothing of it and didn't even look until a guy started to call my name. That voice was very familiar, and the face that belonged to it was still in my memory. It was my hookup. When I looked, he smiled widely and called out for me to come over. But when he saw Joe, who had that point asked me who that was, the smile faded. I was dumbstruck, so I didn't say anything, but that was necessary. The traffic light just turned green. People started to get agitated that my hookup wouldn't immediately go, so finally he focused on the road and drove off. That was a hell of a coincidence, right? That he would be in Amsterdam at the same time? But why wouldn't he say so when I told him my plans? If he didn't want me to know, why call me out in the middle of a busy road? I didn't allow my mind to think about him intentionally going there to find me. That was impossible. He wasn't interested in me anyway, right? Back at home, my phone started to blow up. Calls, angry texts, new profiles. Didn't matter that I told him to stop. It didn't matter that I threatened to block him again. He just told me I was a slut for going out with another guy, despite being in a relationship with him. That I was just like everyone else. That he deserved better than me. And then he said he had just been coming to Amsterdam for me, to surprise me. When I tell you I changed my number and deleted dating app quicker than I possibly could have dreamt of, I mean I sprinted to my car and drove to the closest shop to get a new number. Not long after, I moved to the new place. I had two new roommates that were both in the same college courses I was in. We got along fine, and the house is pretty big. One of my roommates inherited it from her mom. The moving went smoothly. I didn't get another text. I didn't get any messages on my social media, and he didn't show up to my old place. Eventually, a few months later, I basically forgot again. For more context, the house was in a village. Not even a small town, but a village. There were no shops, no nothing. Shopping we'd have to do in the next town that was approximately 4 miles away. My room was on the ground floor. The window of that room was right next to me to the entrance door when you were looking at the house from the outside. And right beside my room outside was the carport. The ground was covered in gravel, and once anyone moved, the light of the carport would turn on. It was a pretty hot summer, so I sometimes slept with my window open. I wasn't that afraid because once again, it was a small village and barely anyone would drive through here. So one night I was just sleeping, even had my back turned towards the window. Then I started to hear someone walking on the ground towards my window. I immediately turned around, of course, and I saw a guy walk past my window. Though he didn't look inside, he walked to the mailbox and seemed to throw something inside, then he left. I was stunned for a few seconds, but at least he wasn't a murderer, I thought. As soon as I could move, I closed the window and kept it closed each night from that point onward. This actually happened a few nights, that someone would walk in our mailbox in the middle of the night, but nothing was ever inside. At least that I knew of. It was weird, but maybe one of my roommates were receiving something personal that they just didn't want to share. Cut to a few nights later. I was minding my own business when I suddenly heard some gravel again. My roommates had just gone to bed half an hour ago, and I didn't hear anyone leave. So I thought it was just the mailbox guy, but this time he didn't walk to the mailbox. He just walked to the carport. I know that because the light turned on. Immediately, I texted my roommates about the guy in our carport. One of my roommates, Sarah, who had her room across the hallway from mine, while Mary, the other roommate, and hers upstairs, texted back into our group chat, and we'd met with weapons at the bottom of the stairs to investigate. I grabbed a pair of scissors I had in my room and went to our meeting point. Turns out my weapons were the most useful since Mary came downstairs with a ukulele, and Sarah thought an empty plastic bottle would suffice. After laughing at the absurdity of our weapons of choice, we started getting back in serious mode, going to the side of the door that led to the carport. Sarah looked through the window and said door, and but didn't see anyone. The light was turned off too. Just in that moment, we heard someone tampering with our mailbox again. Not gonna lie, I probably peed my pants a little. Immediately, we ran to the front door, opened it, and looked outside. There was no one. At least not that we could see. After looking in the mailbox, which was empty, of course, we went back inside. Not even 2 minutes later, I got a text from an unknown number saying how cute I looked in my nightgown, that no makeup even made me look prettier. He hoped that I'd come out alone so we could have some fun together, like before I moved. But he was sad to find two other people with me. Needless to say that none of us slept that night. The police was called immediately and did a sweep, but no one was found on the property. He didn't exactly say it, but I know it was that guy. So I filed a report the next day. Nothing happened with it, but since nothing else happened like that, I thought he got the message that we called the police. Sometimes I still get messages from an unknown number, but they're pretty harmless and I don't really bother any further when I ignore them. But the fear in the back of my mind that one day he could be back stays, of course. In the meantime, I took up self-defense classes. So dear stalker, we better never meet again. I mean, that's pretty standard stalker story, if I'm gonna lie. So, I got no opinions. It's creepy. I liked it. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to tune in this Friday or Saturday for the live stream. I don't know what game I'm playing, but it's something. And leave a like, subscribe, get me to 1,000 subs, and I'll play a horror game. And I'll see you in the next one, guys. Peace out. Bye bye.